welcome back. So today we're going to do a Christmas themed tumbler. So this reminded me so much. I think I got this with Gracefully Created. I think at this point, I'm not exactly sure, but I will definitely tag everything down below where I got this. But anyways, it was a package and I really liked the, kind of old-fashioned style of the look. And this one in particular reminded me very much of like the old, kind of 60s, the Jetsons kind of look about it. And I wanted to do that theme, and I kept finding these ornaments that matched that atomic look to it, and that's what it's called. That, anyways, it's very 60s and that kind of era. And so I really felt like that vinyl really had that kind of look. So therefore I just went with the ornaments that I found. But anyways, so we did a vinyl wrap, cut off the excess, and then did a little slice down the back. And then I took out that, I was trying to get that little piece that was underneath, and I finally was able to come out from the bottom. But anyways, just to give it like a real nice smooth edge there, I did take my my vinyl scraper thing, and I eventually, kind of pushed it down and got it real nice and straight on the back side there. Then I took my vinyl cutter from Cami Page Boutique, and I sliced off that bottom edge there so that we could have a nice clean rim on the bottom. I really like doing this lately, keeping the bottoms nice and clean instead of having to sand them and get them, all fixed up. Anyways, so then I took my X-Acto knife and I just kind of sliced just a tiny bit just to make it as straight as possible. And then at this point I was like, okay, we have everything wrapped up. What we're gonna do now is do some painting and do some glitter glue and do a glitter mix and all of that. So first thing first, I'm going to tape this vinyl off because I do want to paint it and glitter glue and put glitter and all of that. So I'm going to tape it off a few different ways just so that I can kind of work a little more freely, because I always seem to I'll put like one strip of tape and I think, oh, that's going to be enough, because it's just me painting it or whatever. But I always end up like going way past the tape. So I went ahead and just taped off the whole, like just a few more stripes, just to give me a little bit more leeway to kind of come down with the paint and the glue and the glitter and all of that stuff. So I wanted to match a particular blue greenish color that was on the bottom in that vinyl there. One of the trees had this like kind of Tiffany blue look to it, and so I wanted to match that. And I thought this one was a little bit too light, this one was a little bit too dark, so I thought maybe I'll mix the two of them. I ended up adding a little bit more of the 10, 12, 13. Freshwater is the little bit darker one. I think once I added 2 portions of 10, 12, 13 and then 1 portion of the freshwater, I felt like it really brought out that particular blue greenish color that was in one of those trees at the bottom there. I should have also mixed up about 3 times that much because I end up having to mix up more. But anyways, I went ahead and used just my plain acrylic paint here and this makeup brush that really just allows for the paint to go on really nice and smooth. But you see how I'm just kind of like, I'm able to just kind of paint as fast and as up and down as I want to, because I did cover up a lot of that vinyl, and I would have gone right past that first strip of tape had I not done that. So that's kind of why I'm kind of like learning from myself that that's what you want to do, is make sure you're covering and you don't have a bunch of cleanup later on. So I ended up taking a little medicine cup and I put some glitter glue and some paint, and then I just kind of took my paintbrush and just kind of mixed it up in there. I've already painted it white one time, so this was just to kind of really give us a nice, you know, really white background. I didn't go with green or blue or anything like that. I really wanted it to have this light tint to it, so that's why I didn't. But if you wanted it to be a little bit darker or wanted it to have a tinge of a different color, that's when you kind of add another color behind it, and then it's going to bring out some of those other shades of blue or green. So that's why I just went with a white, because I really wanted it to have that light colored, you know, blue greenish type color. I should say like a pastel kind of greenish color is what I wanted. I really wanted that like 50s kind of that green that like the you know, dishwashers and stuff like that were. In fact, I think they called it avocado, but it wasn't as green as like an avocado. But anyways, I had a specific idea for this tumbler, and like I said, I should have mixed up like 3 things of this, because I ended up having to do this probably like 3 or 4 times, and then I ended up this was not enough coverage. I didn't think so. I just went ahead and covered as much as I could in this application here, and I just took the rest of the glitter and I tapped off as much as I could, and then I just set that to dry. So once that was dry, well, actually before that, sorry, I took my tape off so that it doesn't dry and rip off any of my glitter. And then after that, I set it down and let it dry. And once that paint and glue was dry, I went back in with another strip of tape. And this time I was, you know, I'm going to be a little bit more careful, because it's just going to be the glue that I'm going to be putting on here. So I just did one strip of painter's tape right there. I did make sure that it was very tight along the edge at the top there, and just made sure that it went all the way around. So now I'm like, okay, well, either way, I'm going to seal this glue, right? I'm going to seal this glitter in. So I went ahead and was like, okay, I'm going to seal this in, but I'm also at the same time thinking, I'm going to just douse this with another coat of glitter to make it a little bit darker. So I went in with the glitter glue and did a whole round of glitter all the way around, and then I went back in with another coat of glitter. And like I said, once again, I should have mixed up like 3 things, because that was all the glitter I had. So I had to go back to the drawing board and mix up hopefully the same amount or the same type of mixture of glitter, and try to come up with the same mix again. So lesson learned here is that if you are using paint and glitter glue, the glitter, you use a little bit more glitter, especially in this case where I felt like I needed an extra coat of glitter so that I could kind of darken it up a little bit. So, you know, lesson learned, if you're going to be doing, if it's epoxy will take on very small amounts of glitter and it'll go a long way. But in this instance, you need a little bit more glitter to get you kind of through the 2 steps of glittering something like this. And since I only had that much glitter left over after I did it again, I went ahead and just kind of rolled it all in that parchment paper. Number 1, to kind of pick up any leftover glitter. Number 2, to flatten out, just kind of smooth out that glitter now that we have, you know, a couple of coats on there. So just making sure that I get all the glitter off of the vinyl, and then we can set it aside to dry, and then go back in and seal it one more time. And once that's all good and dry, once we get all of that glitter glue completely dried on this top part, we're going to go in with our couple of coats of epoxy. And once again, just to avoid some of the transfer, we're just going to start off with the vinyl. And like I said, I wasn't going to do the bottom part, so I was taking very slow around the bottom there so that we wouldn't bring too much of that epoxy over the edge. And I'll end up cleaning it off here in a little bit. But I did the vinyl first and then went in with the glitter and put the coats of epoxy on there. And once this is sealed, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You can just go from top to bottom, no big deal. So once again, I'm going to show you really quick how to do something in Google Docs. We're going to pull in our image here. And the image was something I found off of Creative Fabrica. It was, I have like my Cricut files, and then I have my Christmas files, and then anyways, so I just kind of organize things that way. But this is how you go ahead and just crop. I just cropped out the balls deep in Christmas because I mean, you know, whatever, it's funny, but that was not what I was wanting. I was wanting the Atomic Christmas ornament look that matched my little trees on my vinyl. So here is where I measured everything out. I made sure that it was going to measure all the way around, height and width wise, as far as my cup. I mean, you know, after I put the epoxy on and everything, you want to measure it and make sure you are fitting in there. The reason I wasn't getting it very wide was because I had it on portrait, so you want to change it to landscape. And I was showing you there how to do that. I did this pretty quickly, only because I showed y'all last week, and then also you can kind of pause it and slow it down if you really need to know how to do this. But for the sake of time, I just feel like sometimes it's a long time in these videos, and so I don't want to waste too much of your time, but I also want to make sure that you're learning and you know, getting all of the experiences that you need. And after that, we're going to go into print, and we're going to use our printer properties. And I was using a water slide here, a water slide paper, because I wanted to, you know, it was a light enough color. I could just use water slide. And so I was just picking my options and sorting out my printing quality and all of that, and then printing this out just on my plain laser printer, and did this on water slide. And once I got that printed, even though it is a laser printer, I have had better experience. If I take it outside and I seal it with the matte clear spray from Rust-Oleum, it just has a better, I don't know, it just functions better. I don't have any issues with water and, you know, putting it in there and any of the ink coming off, or just in general. I think spraying it and sealing it is always helpful. And so, but I did end up cutting just as much as I could possibly cut off of the, you know, around it, just so that we didn't have a whole bunch of water slide paper, you know, at the top and the bottom kind of hanging over. And then I did cut it in kind of pieces there. I thought that would be the easiest way to stick it on the tumbler. And then I also did cut the top part. You always want to make sure that you take all of the places where it was printed and sealed. You want to cut around every bit of that. And so I did just cut kind of off that little piece off the top, because then that will loosen the paper up and allow you to put it on the tumbler or whatever you're putting it on. So I put this on in some really nice warm water, and I did it backwards. So I did it backwards, upside down, whatever you want to say it, inside out, whatever. I thought that was going to be the easiest way to just stick it on there, because it didn't really matter. There wasn't a too much of a different, I mean, there wasn't going to be any difference. There was no words or anything like that. So really the shape or where the placement of the ornaments was not that big of a deal. So, and it made it a lot easier for me to get it on and off of that tumbler, with it being such a large, you know, well, such large pieces. So this was so much easier doing that way. And if you can print things, like mirror print them and print them backwards, and then you could do this with anything, but I always just kind of forget. So, but on stuff like this, I'm like, well, I can do that backwards, no big deal. I did take my squeegee afterwards and kind of squeezed out, any of the excess water underneath to kind of prevent bubbles and things like that. And then after that, I just let it sit and dry. So I did put on a nice coat of epoxy after that, after it did dry. And I went in with this, you probably saw me use this, well, if you, I'll I'll tag the video up here at the top, but I used this on my cow print tumbler. Yeah, it was the cow print. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I cut it into these strips, and I had a bunch of strips left over. So I was looking through kind of my vinyl of seeing what I had left over, and I saw this this holographic vinyl, and I thought, you know what, it'll be really kind of cute because it has kind of that feel. I think I thought it did, but then once I got it on there, I used this really light, sparkly, clear, no, see-through, gray, sparkly vinyl that I had some extras of, and I thought, you know what, I'll just go ahead and cover this vinyl up with that, and then it'll just give it a nice kind of sparkle and look to it. And I really like the way that it looked. You kind of have to see it in person to really get the effect, but I don't know. I liked the way that those two kind of came together. So in this mix of vinyl, I got a bunch of decals. This decal matches the trees that are down at the bottom of this tumbler. Now, it is printed on white on the background, right? And then it's clear around there. And so I was like, I really wanted to put it on there, but I couldn't find, like, I just couldn't find the right place. So I kind of put it on there, and I thought, no, that's just too busy. And the problem was, had I done it maybe the other way, or had I thought about this decal beforehand, I think I would have been able to place it at the bottom of on the other side where the line was. But I couldn't do it because it was on the back side. So anyways, I ended up putting that back down on the paper, and went in with a coat of epoxy right after this, and then I was done. And I still need to do coats of epoxy on this thing. I still need to sand the rim and all of that, but I wanted to get this tutorial out to you guys and show you what I've been working on, so that you know, you can get going on your Christmas stuff. And there you go. Merry Christmas. I'm so excited about Christmas. I'm so excited about Thanksgiving, because for me, Thanksgiving is like, it just leads right into all of the Christmas things. And that's when you can really start kind of going crazy on Christmas. But I really love the nostalgia that this kind of gives you, just kind of takes you back to back in the day. I love the idea that had tumblers and stuff been around back then, that this is probably something that one of the housewives would have been, you know, carrying around, or, you know, taking to their bridge days or something. Anyway, I like to reminisce, you know, like The Help. That movie was so cool. Anyway, the nostalgic of it. Anyways, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think. And if this inspires you, please tag me, and I'll see you next time.